Eu caí? Olá, pessoal! Tudo bem? Bem-vindos aí ao Portal Medieval, caríssimos ouvintes, caríssimos espectadores, caríssimos apoiadores do Portal Medieval. Hoje é um dia especial, temos um convidado de honra aqui conosco hoje, então vai ser um vídeo bem bacana. Queria agradecer primeiro aos nossos apoiadores, o Mercado Viking, o Hidromel Meadwine, Mercante Medieval, Leão e Lebre, que fabricam armaduras sensacionais, e também o pessoal da Darc Medieval, que fazem gambesons. Então, vamos ter muitos sorteios hoje aqui na live, de descontos, de brindes. E, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Sergey Ukolov.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Welcome,
hi.
Sergey.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Good.
It's Saturday. Good weather.
Good weather. We were talking about that. You said it was around 20 degrees in Russia right now?
Yeah.
Good. In Brazil, it came a polar wind from the south, so we are having now incredible 10 degrees.
10 degrees.
which I think for you is like spring.
No, it was about 10 degrees medium temperature this winter.
Winter.
Global warming or something about that.
Right.
We almost have no snow this winter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I've been there last December, and as I remember, I've seen a bit snow, but not much as I expected, indeed.
Usually I'm skiing in winter, and usually it takes about 3 or 4 months in winter. This winter it was 3 weeks.
Wow. A great difference. Yeah, indeed, global warming is affecting the whole world, and we all can see this is something real, and I don't know what we can do about it. So let's start talking to our guys that are watching us. First of all, we're very, very thankful for you to give your time and being here with us. It's been 2 years since you visited us, so we are missing you and missing your learning and your skills. And when you're fighting, you know it's more than a fight. It's kind of like a show, and we enjoy it very much.
Thank you.
I thank you. So I'm starting with questions from our audience. They sent like 50 questions, so we prepared some like 20 questions that could join everything people asked, to not take you like 4 hours interview. So first of all, there is an interesting question about how was your first armor? Can you tell us about the experience of wearing it and fighting with it? How was it?
My first armor was it was 20 years ago. It was something about Viking helmet with leather eventile. I made it by myself, and it was chainmail. Of course, it was leather graves, and that's on plastic legs.
I see. I see.
Yeah, there was rules which objects to strike near the knee, and it was enough. Okay, of course, it was very painful in chainmail, but all people fought in chainmails, and it was okay. There were many bugurs in chainmails. My first bugurt, it was 80 years ago. I was in chainmail. It was okay this time.
I see. So we can say that those who survived are now good fighters.
Yes.
Just passing it to Portuguese for our audience. Perguntei, né, como foi a primeira armadura dele, como é que foi a experiência de vesti-la, lutar com ela. E ele falou que já há 30 anos, né, que usou a primeira armadura. Tinha os elementos de plástico até, né? Então era um elmo feito por ele mesmo, com elementos de couro, tinha metal, lógico. Basicamente era chainmail aqui na proteção. E a armadura era parecida com uma armadura viking, né? Mas tudo bem, como todo mundo usava isso e não tinha muitas regras nessa época, estava tudo ok. E aí eu disse que aqueles que sobreviveram a esse período agora são os bons lutadores que estão aí, né? Porque realmente ele falou que era bem doloroso, devia ter bastante coisas interessantes acontecendo com essas pancadas. E aí o primeiro Buhurt foi há 8 anos, e ainda assim ele vestia chainmail, e desde então as regras começaram a se aprimorar para ter mais segurança, né? E hoje sabemos que há muitas regras sobre isso. So we can say that you all fighters learned from too much pain with that kind of armor from 30 years ago.
Yes, it was so. Of course, people couldn't strike so hard as they do now. Of course, by the other way,
I see.
Did that already. But there it was okay this time. Chainmail, very convenient armor.
Very light, easy to move.
Not very light. Titanium brigandine, much more lighter than iron chainmail, but convenient, of course. I think to buy a chainmail, I don't know what for, but I wanted.
Ele estava dizendo que era conveniente usar as chainmail. Eu perguntei se era porque era mais leve, mas não, ele disse que a brigandina é mais leve, né? E também fez a ressalva de que as pessoas não podiam bater tão forte quanto hoje, mas ainda assim era algo considerável. So, and from 30 years to now, you evolved a lot and you became the toppest fighter in the world. And we believe that you train very much for that. So the questions are about your training. And I know you have a YouTube channel, which is very educational for who is beginning and even for some experienced fighters to not just evolve their fighting experience and their fighting skill, but also to revisit some concepts and techniques that they may become not so perfect, so they can watch it, learn the very perfect movement, and evolve to another level of fighting. So it's a very, very useful and very important content and channel. I'm going to talk about this in Portuguese for the guys later. But anyway, thank you for that. It's a very important channel for all of us.
Okay, thank you. And what is the question?
Yeah, the question is, how many days of the week and how many hours per day you dedicate for practicing HMB?
It depends of part of the year. and of the fact will Battle of the Nations held this year or not. This year, and because of pandemic, of course, I have not very much HMB workouts. I manage 2 or 3 or 5 times a week HMB lessons in my gym, and try to practice during this sparring with my better ones. With them, but
Okay.
I don't train seriously all this period. Closer to tournaments, I will practice, I think, 3-4 times a week, 3-4 workouts a week. At all, I'm training about 6 or 7 times a week. I practicing in skis, on ski rollers. I'm training gym with weights, and it's about let me count. It took me about 15 hours a week trainings.
I see. So, galera, então, claro que a pandemia dá uma mudada total no ritmo de treinos, porque não tem torneios, né? E os torneios motivam a treinar. Então, nesse período, ele tem dado aulas e treinado cerca de 3 a 4 vezes por semana, no máximo, assim. Mas prejudica muito pelo fato de não estar treinando no espaço próprio para isso, né? Mas no período regular, ele treina praticamente 6 dias por semana, o que dá umas 15 horas por dia de treino dedicado ao HMB. 15 horas por semana, ou seja, quase que um pouco mais de 2 horas por dia, né? Envolvendo aí 6 dias de treino. And about still talking about training and practice, do you practice other sports that help you on preparing for HMB as well?
Last 3 years it's skis.
Skis.
Not mountain skis, just usual skis. My basic sport in my childhood was freestyle wrestling. It took me 7 years. Now skis, before it wrestling. And from my it was CrossFit some years, about 5, 6 or 7, I don't remember. But now it's just maybe bodybuilding, skiing and HMB, that's all.
Então ele já praticou wrestling, né, por cerca de 7 anos, e atualmente ele tem praticado esqui, não é o esqui de montanha, né, com neve e tudo mais, mas o esqui mais comum, mais como uma atividade extra, e a dedicação dele é maior mesmo para o HMB. Ernesto, nós temos bastante questões separadas em texto já, porque foram as perguntas feitas antecipadamente, mas pode ir rolando também os comentários e as perguntas das pessoas por aqui. Caso tenha algo que se encaixe ou que caiba ali perguntar, a gente vai perguntando também, tá? O Ernesto é o nosso Silver Boy, né, o nosso garoto de prata que está aqui acompanhando a gente e fazendo todo esse trabalho técnico durante as nossas transmissões. Eu perdi a questão ali do Luiz Guilherme. You see a comment from Luiz Guilherme telling that...
Yes, Luiz, thank you.
Yeah. So still about practicing, about your team work. How do you apply constant training with your team, and how many days you train together? And if you train techniques separated from physical preparation, and everything you could tell us about Buhurt.
Okay,
training team for cohort?
it's not easy question. I will try to answer you. First of all, we are not young, and almost half of our team it's people near 40 years.
Hmm.
I am 38. Dmitry Ramadin, I think about 40. We
It's a
have families, works, and we prefer to not prefer. The fact is, we train separately. I'm skiing. Someone makes bodybuilding in different gyms. Yes, we have board trainings in my gym, but usually from main part of our team, 2 or 3 people each time. It's possible I don't see my teammates for months or 2 months. We are almost all of us are very experienced, and usually we don't need to practice too much. Of course, it would be better to spend more time together, but we have an opportunity to do that. That's what. I'm sure all of us make all to become better, to train well as much as we can, but together we can't do it often. That's all.
And that brings me to a question from my part. But sometimes I may be wrong, but sometimes I see a Bohur team as a heavy metal band. You rehearse and you practice for a concert, but it comes a time when you're experienced band and when experienced musicians, you don't make so many rehearsals together, and you spend like 2 or 3 months separated. And when you join, everyone knows what to do, and everyone is so connected with the music, or in your case, with the sport, with the movements, with the techniques you need to take down people, and you feel like you're in a stage again. Do you think this is
I
a good?
think it's a good analogy.
That's,
That's
that's
all.
all that I see. Ele disse, né, que eles não conseguem treinar juntos como ele gostaria, mas por outro lado são lutadores muito experientes, né? Então não que não seja necessário, seria bom, seria útil, mas o fato de eles serem lutadores mais velhos, já na casa dos 40 anos, né, muito experientes no esporte, estão aí alguns há mais de 20 anos no esporte, como ele próprio, faz com que eles saibam, né, exatamente o que fazer, e cada um treina separadamente, com sua responsabilidade. Quando chega para jogar junto, vamos dizer assim, estão todos prontos para fazer o mais alto nível. Eu falei que é parecido com uma banda de heavy metal, né, porque é assim, eu faço parte de uma banda e a gente fica, às vezes, meses separados, mas a experiência e o fato de estar no palco é algo que a gente não perde, né? E aí, quando se encontra, parece que tudo se conecta e se liga, assim, de uma forma incrível. É a mágica, né? It's the magic of music and HMB that links people. And about this, the team, I would like to ask about friendship in this sport, in the HMB movement, the HMB community. Did it bring many friendships to your life? You have like life friends for life that you have acquired in the HMB movement? Or you were friends before and you just started to fight? And
I don't think so. The most of my friends from live action RPG games, RPG. Of course, some from HMB, I think it's half from there, half from there. Not all my friends from HMB, of course.
Eu perguntei sobre as amizades, né, que são feitas no meio, mas ele disse que nem todos são, né, nem todas as amizades dele ele teve através do HMB, muitos do RPG. A gente estava falando um pouco sobre isso, sobre eventos de LARPG, né, e ele estava num evento bem interessante. Eu vou depois perguntar isso para contar pra gente, que foi uma temática de Conan, parece que foi bem divertida. We're gonna talk this in a few moments about that LARPG event. And getting back to the questions of the audience, we talked about Buhurt, and there is a question about halberd, alabarda. What historical sources you use for practicing halberd? Is there any source for that, or you just learn from Buhurt?
Why do I need sources to learn how to do 2 strikes? 1 and 2. Okay, 3 and 4. That's all. It's too easy. It's just a stick. It's like a sword. It's like a long sword. The same way I can use it. Much more interesting. It's wrestling with halberd. And we almost have no good sources to learn how to wrestle with halberd. My source is Evgeny Ageev, Bagoudin Yusupov. It's from it's now from a Western Town team.
You said Evgeny
Ageev.
Ageev. Okay.
Ageev. Look at them fights at the last Good Prime, and you will watch everything.
Falou sobre as fontes históricas para praticar a alabarda, né? Teve essa pergunta. E it's becoming popular in Brazil, the desire to fight halberd. At last Battle of the Nations, our national captain got the fifth position in the.
Of course, you're not very big guys, and you have to use much powerful weapon to do damage.
Yeah. E ele disse que assim as fontes históricas para a alabarda são basicamente 4, né? Que é bater assim, do outro lado e daqui, né? Você tem 4 golpes básicos ali e essa é a fonte histórica usada. Claro que para a alabarda com a técnica de wrestling, apesar de não ser uma fonte histórica, ele tem 2 lutadores a mencionar que são muito experientes, especialmente um que está na Western Tower agora, que é Evgeny
Ageev.
Ageev.
Ageev. A-G-E-E-V.
V. Ok. You got it. So, vocês pegaram, então, Evgeny Ageev. Is that right?
Western Tower, the most fat guy.
Yeah. É o cara mais gordão do Western Tower. Então é fácil de identificar ele e vai poder passar mais dicas sobre isso. Tínhamos comentado uma outra coisa agora, mas acabei perdendo aqui o que foi. Mas se eu lembrar, eu já falo para vocês. We talked about practicing you've been doing during this pandemic. Yeah, so what gears do you like to use for practicing besides metal swords? Do you use like sticks or something heavy, or what do you use?
I'm using during pandemic or in my workouts.
Regular workouts.
Regular workouts. It's you see there are fitness bars. It's like iron stick in with cover. 6 kilos or 10, something like that. I do exercises from Indian clubs, coach, if you understand.
Yes, of course. And this is for lifting or for striking?
No, just for swinging.
Swinging.
In Indian clubs, you can find it in YouTube, maybe Iran clubs. There are 2 or 3 movements which I learn, which I recognized very useful for us. It makes our joints stronger and very good. And of soft swords, of course. Soft equipment, soft swords.
When you practice in Buhut, you use soft equipment or armor?
Usually soft equipment.
Cool. Então, pessoal, para treinar, né, ele usa basicamente barras com halteres de 6 a 10 quilos para fazer movimentos assim, que fortalece a musculatura, é importante para você desferir o golpe, né? Então é importante ter essa musculatura fortalecida, especialmente com esses movimentos que você faz, para você ter um golpe mais forte e também não sofrer, né, dores e problemas com isso. Então é um fortalecimento interessante que ele faz regularmente. E para treinar, para bater mesmo, usa as espadas de soft. Eu perguntei até do Buhut, e mesmo no Buhut, quando eles treinam, usa os equipamentos de HMB Soft para o Buhut, para evitar lesões, né? Então é bem interessante. E é um equipamento bem bacana para treinar. Eu que faço parte da equipe da Espada de Prata, a gente usa, inclusive, esses equipamentos para treinar Buhut. When we're talking about a team that are evolving in Buhut, like all of us here in Brazil, you consider it's an important thing to have a proper place with lists to practice together more and more, and perhaps bring people from Argentina and Mexico and even Europe, so we can do more Buhut together in lists, or we can. What I'm saying is, we cannot give ourselves the condition to practice alone. You see, we should practice together in a proper place with wooden lists to practice Buhut. You think it's essential, really essential, for a team that is beginning to learn Buhut as we are now?
Didn't understand the question at all. It was about, do you need the full list in your gyms?
Yeah. If this is, how is this important for a team that is learning Buhut to have the wooden lists to practice together?
Okay, I understand. It's very important, but you don't need to have the full list. In my gym, I have only 5 meters piece of list, and we just make exercise with it. Or we make full wrestling exercise. We have wrestling sparrings near that. You can practice in 5 meters. It's about 2 pairs of fighters. In armor, without armor, doesn't matter. But it's very useful. Without list 5 meters or 3 meters, maybe 2 meters, I think it's impossible to have good practice in modern 5-5 Bugurs. In 12-12 and 30-30, it's okay to practice without wooden list, but in 5-5, it's very important. Yeah.
Perguntei a importância de ter um centro de treinamento e com liças, né, de madeira, que é aquela arena, para treinar o Buhut e treinar junto. E ele disse que, claro, é bom, mas o ideal é pelo menos ter ali uma liça de 5 metros, né, ou que seja de 3 até 2 metros, que seja, mas pelo menos uma trave, né, de madeira ali, em que você possa praticar isso para desenvolver as técnicas de derrubada, as técnicas do burrute, especialmente as usadas no 5 contra 5. Que o 12 contra 12, o 30 contra 30, poderiam ser praticados assim de uma forma sem as listas até, porque as derrubadas acontecem muito no centro, né? E tem muitos golpes de alabarda, é bem diferente. Mas a importância para o 5 contra 5 é legal ter pelo menos essa lista de madeira ao redor ao redor não, pelo menos 5 metrinhos ali de lista de madeira para poder treinar junto com o pessoal. E mesmo que não treine todo mundo, pelo menos técnicas ali de combate. Obrigado. My lovely wife just brought me some coconut water, so. And she sent you hello. You've been in Brazil once?
Yeah.
And can you tell us more about this experience of visiting Brazil and South America? How was that for you?
Visiting of Brazil and Argentina was one of the best impressions in my life, of course, because it's very unusual for me. I traveled too much in Europe, in Russia, but America, USA, and South America, have a great difference in people and mentality, in nature, with Europe. It was great, very cool.
Great. Eu perguntei como foi a experiência de vir aqui, né, no Brasil, e ele visitou o Brasil e a Argentina, e falou que foi bem interessante porque é muito diferente de tudo que ele costuma ver, né? There are questions from the audience you can read, so if you want to talk about this, it's completely okay. What are the tips for those who want to start in all categories? You have a first tips you would give for beginners.
First tip for beginners, you have to choose one, or it will be duels, or it will be bugles. I began from duels and practiced it for 15 years before I start to practice bugles. I have wrestled past. I'm not bad sportsman. I was not a bad sportsman in wrestling. I have that background, and I have fencing background. I can fight in bugles. It took me 2 or 3 years to begin to make it well, but it was easier for me. I know no one people who came from bugles to duels. No good duelist which came from bugles. It's very different disciplines.
A dica principal para quem está começando, né, e quer se dedicar é focar em uma categoria, né? Ou pelo menos dividir. Eu vou ser duelista ou eu vou praticar burrute. É lógico que ele conhece bons burruteiros que vieram dos duelistas e vice-versa, porque isso é bem possível. Mas pelo menos para começar e escolher uma categoria para você iniciar os treinos, e entender também como é que vai ser estar na armadura, como você vai se sentir, que tipo de categoria você vai preferir, e aí sim evoluir para especializar numa modalidade e depois explorar as demais. I was telling that people that are just beginning still have to adapt to using armor and decide what category they are practicing as an expertise, so then they can start to work in other categories. This is a question from Sergio Scabone from Argentina. And he is asking you to point to the best fighters in each duel category, in your opinion. I would say the second best duelist, because the first would be you.
Okay, it's easier. In sword and buckler, it's Ilya Ivanov. In long sword, and Sword and Shield, it Alexei Petrik. I wonder, do you remember Evgeny Lapik? Do you remember this fighter? He was a champion in 2016 in Prague. He can beat all of us in all categories.
Yes.
And he trying to return now. I think he will take part in qualifications for the next Battle of the Nations. There will be 4 best Russian fighters in these qualifications. And maybe it will be the first Battle of the Nations where I will not to be qualified.
We are supporting you, and of course all these guys that I know are also very, very excellent and good fighters. When we were in Riga last December, we heard about HMB Soft fighter that is coming to 18 years old and is becoming to be a big fighter. Do you remember his name? You can tell us about that, or you just it's something that other people said you don't know that.
I don't know. I know that Alina, the new champion in women's fights, in women's triathlon last year, she came from Soft Sword. But I don't know. I don't know
Much fighters from HMB Soft.
anyone. Yes, new male fighters which can beat us.
So, could you just a second? Ele falou os nomes, né? Eu vou só pedir para repetir o nome de cada um, porque é mais fácil ele mesmo falar do que eu tentar reproduzir aqui. Entonces, Sergio, si ha escuchado, solamente le voy a pedirle que repita los nombres de los peleadores que él pueda indicar como los mejores de cada categoría, y porque yo no sabería decir en ruso, entonces mejor que él diga. So, if you could please tell us again the 4 names of those fighters.
Me, Sergey Ukolov, Evgeny Lapik, Ilya Ivanov, and Alexei Petrik.
Perfect. And this Alina, you told this Alina Anisimova?
No. Alina, господи. Lappo. Lappo.
L-A, Lapko. Lappo. A long way to learn Russian from.
It's I think it's Finland. I sent it in chat.
It's a Finnish name, Lappo. I see. Ele disse que o nome dessa lutadora que ganhou o triatlon feminino, que veio do HMB Soft, é um sobrenome finlandês, né? So there is a question from some older fighters here in Brazil, and they are asking about something that is concerning them. So after countless titles, do you plan a kind of retirement for the future? And if you do so, would you like to travel the world for HMB seminars?
Так. The future. I'm ready to travel every time. I have a free schedule of my work. I'm ready to travel everywhere in 2 weeks, I can say. Yes, I'm very like it to visit different countries. In plans, I want to develop my fencing gym, to work in it, to train, of course, but it's totally too early, I think, to drop fencing. I'm pretty strong. I think I'm one of 4 best fighters, duelists in the world. And in Russia, there are no young people who can beat me. Only there's 3 which I named before.
Ok. So, não tem nenhuma aposentadoria à vista. Ainda assim, para os novos lutadores, é difícil batê-lo. Como se diz assim, o vovô tem muita lenha para queimar ainda, né? Então, e ele está livre para viajar e dar cursos sempre que precisar. Ele tem um plano de desenvolver a academia dele e fazer seminário sempre é bom. E é isso, sem aposentadoria à vista, o Ukolov vai continuar conquistando mais títulos aí por alguns anos. About this gym you told, would you like to talk more about this? How it started? How is it going? What about your channel?
About my channel, there are now videos. I can't do videos too often as I want. It takes me money and time. Maybe closer to winter, I will produce videos more regular. I will return to educational videos from the next level, maybe, of my understanding of the process of video development. About my gym, in Moscow we have maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 fencing gyms, and we have a market. We have a community of people which using with our gyms, with our product, like fencing or HMB workouts. And we can do this. Almost any good coach in Moscow or in St. Petersburg can raise his group and train them and earn money with this case.
Eu perguntei sobre o canal dele, né, e sobre a academia. O canal, ele falou que infelizmente agora está um pouco parado assim, de conteúdo, mas tem muito conteúdo lá, muito aprendizado, muitas técnicas que para quem está começando e até para experientes é muito válido, porque você pode revisitar técnicas que talvez você esteja falhando. Então é um canal válido para quem está começando e para quem é experiente. E perto do próximo inverno, ou seja, daqui a uns 6 meses, mais ou menos, ele deve começar a voltar a produzir vídeos mais regularmente. E quanto à academia, que ele pretende evoluir ainda, tem cerca de 4 ou 5 em Moscou, e as pessoas que praticam esgrima visitam todos, né, porque vão testando várias técnicas, aprendendo um pouquinho com cada um. É um mercado meio comunidade, assim. E também tem as escolas, né, que estão começando a participar disso, seja convidando professores, seja mandando pessoas para as academias. So about this market and professionalism, could you tell us how is the professional life of an HMB fighter in Russia? Does he start as a kid? You told us already about the gyms, but is there any endorsement from companies or for the government?
No.
No.
It's a totally commercial basement of our workouts.
You do it by yourselves and as a community of HMB gyms.
Yes, we take money from people. We buy armor. We you can earn money only if you are a coach or gym holder, or if you produce some equipment for HMB. That's all. No government support.
And about if you could tell us about that, about Russian Federation, we we see many national federations being built in each country, and we all learning together on how it works, etc. But how does work a Russian Federation? Does it charge some fee from fighters? Does it give you some conditions or some support or anything you can tell us about this?
Russian HMB Federation was created maybe a year ago.
A year ago?
Yes, it's in its new edition. It was many federation before it, but the last edition was created maybe a year or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now we planning to make HMB an official sport in our country.
Mm-hmm.
We working this way. That's all. Now we organize the web of tournaments in Russia. We'll have inner rating of between only Russian teams and fighters in duels, and it will have a name of Russian Federation Championship.
Mm-hmm. But
before it was Recon Festival. Now
Mm-hmm.
it will be Recon and Russian Championship. That's
Mm-hmm.
all.
Recon is a great tournament.
The final of Russian Championship and the qualifications for Battle of the Nations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as fighters, do you pay some fee to Russian Federation?
No.
No, not at all. And when you do events, tournaments, you do it. The Russian Federation does the tournaments, or the teams get together and some organizers make the tournaments and it happens.
There are some organizers teams in Russia to WMFC,
MFC,
yeah, and Age of
Doblastvekov, Age of Courages.
Yes, Age of Courages, and some little organizers teams in different cities.
Regions, I see.
Yes, region cities. They organize tournaments. Large organizations makes big tournaments. Little organizations makes little tournaments.
Yeah, I see.
As usual.
Mm-hmm. Once you're talking about tournaments, before I translate the questions, you've been in a tournament in Brazil, and how was the tournament in your point of view?
For me, it was unusual because we haven't at all Renaissance fairs.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's very popular in USA and South America, and it's a great idea. It was very funny, but we have no the same events in Russia at all.
Uh-huh.
It's a very good idea to make tournaments during the fairs, but we haven't it. We have festivals, Comic-Con with a lot of cosplayers, but it's not the same format.
No. Yes. Just let me talk to the guy. So, teve perguntas sobre as federações, né? As I remember, Oleg Lukyanov was the president of Russian Federation or something like that. Yes, he's the actual president.
Yep.
Então tem uma federação russa, né, que já teve algumas, na verdade, esse é o formato mais atual, tem 1 ano. O presidente é o Oleg Lukyanov, que é um Knight Marshal, inclusive, muito simpático, uma pessoa muito legal. E, enfim, sobre taxas sobre lutadores não tem, né? A organização de torneios, campeonatos é feita por times de organizações e algumas equipes, então equipes grandes fazem grandes torneios, como a Courage of Ages, por exemplo, e equipes pequenas de organização fazem pequenos torneios, mas todos são importantes. Tem torneio na Sibéria, tem torneio em todos os lugares. Agora, com a Federação Russa nesse formato atual, parece que terá 2 torneios ali que serão um campeonato nacional, né? Um torneio da Federação Russa, não que necessariamente ela vai organizar, mas que vai ser esse nome, Campeonato Russo e tal, e o outro, que é o Recon, que tem sido sempre ele mais importante, que também serve como uma seletiva nacional para o Battle of the Nations. So you have just like one qualifier at all, it's Recon.
Yes, but this season we'll have qualifications for Recon, and only after that you can qualify to Battle of the Nations. 2 steps.
Esse ano vai ser diferente, vai ser só o Recon, geralmente são em 2 passos, né, 2 etapas. Esse ano vai ser só o Recon por conta de todo esse negócio da pandemia, né? Strongman Battle is Marcus Ferrari, which is a strongman competitor, which is the biggest in Brazil and the biggest in South America, and he is starting to make buhurt, and he's asking you, how do you prepare your mind before battle? Is there you take a moment, or you listen to some music? What do you do? How do you prepare psychologically for this moment of being?
I will try to explain it with my bad English. Some years ago, to concentrate to tournaments, to do something right with my mind, with my to prepare for fights, I heard from some music. It's Manovar, we will fight until we die, and so on. But now I stop to use this practice. Now, just a second.
Okay. I'm translating in the meanwhile. Ele disse que há uns 10 anos faz uma preparação específica. Okay, keep going.
Now I became older, and it's a very big overload of my nervous system, I think. Because before it, I had only one category. I have triathlon. I have to take first place, but by any way, nothing matters else. Now, last 2 Battle of the Nations, I took part in 5-5, in 12-12, and 21-21, 30-30, and no categories. And triathlon was only one of this. And it's impossible to keep your nervous system in
concentrated.
Yes, in high level all days for all categories. You will burn yourself.
Ele faz umas...
It's I'm trying to rest good, to eat good, with right food, and I think it's okay for me. But of course, young people, maybe not so experienced fighters, need to make something with their nervous system, with their motivation. It's a long story. I can talk a lot about it, but of course, not in English.
Don't
About preparations to fight.
worry.
That's all.
Ok. Então, assim, tem uma preparação que ele fazia há uns 10 anos, né? Que era pensar no que ele ia fazer na batalha, escutar muito Melhor e se preparar para o combate, né? Mas agora ele já disse que tá ficando velho, então é muito barulho para as orelhas, assim. E também, no último ano, ele participou de todas as categorias do Battle of the Nation, né? 5 contra 5, 12, time de 30, duelo, triatlon, e tudo em altíssimo nível, né? Porque ele realmente compete para ganhar todas, e ganha a maioria delas, ou em equipe ou individual. Então é muito difícil você se concentrar para uma coisa só. Então o que ele faz é uma boa alimentação, um bom descanso, o que um atleta deve fazer mesmo, para ter o rendimento mais alto possível. Mas para os mais jovens, ele recomenda assim, que tenha uma concentração, porque você tende a ficar muito motivado, muito disperso, e isso pode atrapalhar de alguma forma seu combate. Ele adoraria falar sobre isso um vídeo inteiro, mas teria de ser em russo, porque fica difícil ele encontrar todas as palavras que ele gostaria de dizer em inglês. And once we're talking about motivation, after so many victories and so many titles, how to keep motivated?
No chance
No,
to
no?
motivate yourself. The most motivated thing, just I found for me was something like that. I think the HMB duels. It's a thing which I can do. In which I best in the world. It means that it's my destiny. It means that I should do it all time.
Cool.
Something like that. Only this motivation. Of course, I don't like tournaments. I don't like to keep heavy bags, my back and walk to another countries to fight there. I don't like this, of course. Now I love to win, but to find motivation, find motivation every time from year to year, it's not easy. It's impossible, I think. I can find motivation in the things that I'm the best or was the best, one of the best in this sport. That's why, because I was still here with you.
Yeah, but you're so kind and so lovely that you would be here with us anytime you want. Particularly to come to Brazil, you are always welcome. You know that it doesn't matter what you're doing, you'll be always welcome here with most of us. Ok? Então ele disse que assim, manter a motivação é algo difícil, né? De manter assim o tempo inteiro, né? E ele também não gosta muito dessa pressão em cima dos ombros, de ir no torneio e tudo mais. Mas o que ele leva para si é o fato de que ele gosta de ganhar, né? E ele coloca assim: eu alcancei o primeiro lugar do mundo, então isso é meu destino. E agora eu tenho que ficar aqui, agora eu tenho que me manter. Então essa é uma forma de botar isso na cabeça e manter o ritmo ao longo do ano, que é difícil você... A gente sabe, né, que no dia a dia a gente tem altos e baixos, então é muito difícil manter motivado o tempo inteiro. Mas é isso que ele faz, para continuar ganhando. We talked about the national championship in Russia. So, do you have a biggest dream for HMB? I mean, for the sport, you have something that you think the sport should achieve in its history?
The biggest dream? Of course, as I think everyone in our sport wants to HMB that it was bigger and bigger and bigger and richer, and it's my dream too. Of course, I want much gyms in different countries. I want to see many young faces on tournaments. You see, now we watch video from Google Prime. I know this guys about 10 years, about 15 years, each of them. Only 3 or 5 from all the teams I didn't know before it. We have very old national team. I want more people in our sport, of course.
Os maiores sonhos são que, eu acho que é o de todo mundo, né? Que o esporte cresça, que seja um esporte rico, né? Tanto em pessoas quanto em mercado mesmo. E o Burros Prime é um exemplo disso, foi um super evento. Encontrar ali os rostos que ele vê na seleção nacional, num evento assim tão importante, foi algo muito legal. E ele espera que tenha mais academias, que tenha mais pessoas, né? Porque são as pessoas que fazem as coisas acontecer e tudo mais. É basicamente o sonho de todo mundo. You know, I have a constant dream about HMB, which is, you know, Brazil is popular with soccer. So it's like once in a week I dream about a soccer stadium, you know, with like 40,000 people and guys entering the lists and the people being there just for watch Bullhut, you know. I hope this someday will happen. What about you know, a Team Bayard female, women in Team Bayard? We can see many important girls fighters coming from your team. Can you tell us more about them?
What do you want? What do you want to know about them? I wonder.
Yes, in Brazil, we are starting to develop the women female team. So they are just wondering about these female fighters from Russia.
Almost. No, what do you want to know?
I think it's about the movement. I think it's about the HMB movement for women in Bayard and in your country.
I don't know. It's historical incident that in Bayard too many fighter girls. I don't know why it became so. As for me, I don't like girls in the club. Of course, there was always girls in Bayard club, but we have 20 years history, and all this history show us the girl in the club, it's a conflict situation in team, usually. Maybe not from the very beginning, but with the time, it's always be so. It's my position. I am not the sexist, but it's just a practice.
I see. When you were talking about ruling a team, and it has implications with people, and everything can happen. So
yes,
it's hard to deal with that.
You have 50 men and 10 women. You can do everything you want.
Yeah, I think we have 10 women fighting in Brazil. So it's a very, very good number already. Eu estava perguntando, né, teve muitas perguntas de lutadoras falando sobre o movimento feminino na Rússia e no time dele. Ele falou que é interessante, mas é uma coisa que pode trazer complicações também, né? Quando você mistura muito ao longo do tempo homens e mulheres, né, podem surgir problemas. Ele não está sendo sexista, não é nada disso. Mas as relações humanas, né? As relações humanas podem levar a esses incidentes. Assim. Mas, de toda forma, o time Bayard tem cerca de 50 homens e 10 mulheres, o que basicamente é o número de lutadoras que nós temos no Brasil. Então, é um número bem considerável. Mas, pelo que eu vi, assim, o treinamento e o sistema é basicamente o mesmo de treino para homens e mulheres. Once we talked about the team, how is it to be a captain?
To be a captain? It's a question from... No, it's not from Carlos. To be a captain, not easy, I think. Maybe I'm not good captain. I don't know. It's very nervous work, I think, especially if you want to win. You have to make a disciplined team from very different people, which almost all of them have a great authority. Just a second.
There is many personal issues about it, like ego, like yeah.
It's
It's almost like a heavy metal band as well.
Yes, it's very hard work.
And once we talked about heavy metal, I heard you say you like Manowar. So you is Manowar your favorite band? What are your favorites?
No, it's I'm not so young to hear one direction of music. I heard everything: folk, metal, pop music. It depends of my
humor.
Yeah.
Depends on your mood. I mean,
of mood, yes, of course.
Carlos Perini is asking. He would like to know the importance of medieval combat literature in the practice of HMB. Do you apply these techniques, or you have to adjust it to the sport?
Yeah, I understand this question. No, you don't need to learn everything from old books, from manuscripts. Everything you need to fight in modern HMB is to learn how to fight in modern HMB. Different techniques, different drills. I think it's a better idea to learn how to fight by old manuscripts, of course. You think it's like to learn how to wrestle by ancient Greeks pictures. Something about that.
Okay. Ele comentou que assim, você talvez para lutar HMB nem tenha que necessariamente usar os antigos manuais, né? Claro que você pode adaptar eles, mas são ilustrações, são técnicas que para o HMB talvez não tenham tanta influência assim. É claro que sempre é um conteúdo, algo que você aprende, mas não é necessário, né? Não está necessariamente ligado. Perhaps this old literature, these manuals, they are important for HEMA, for example. More important for HEMA. But I have no idea. So let's do one of our last questions. What was the most exotic place you have already visited practicing HMB?
Practicing HMB. I think you mean Brazil or Argentina? No. It was about 15 years ago. And it was winter. It was Severodvinsk. Maybe you hear this place. It's a city on the shore of the White Sea, Northern Sea. You live in the south, it's on the north. It was January or February. It was very cold, and we fought with Dmitry Ramadin and Oleg Lukyanov in underground strip club by the rules of modern pro fights. It was 15 years ago. We didn't fight these rules before, and it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's
you can ask Oleg Lukyanov about it. He's remember.
I'll ask him. You know, Lukyanov is you know it better than me. He's a very great person. adore him. He's a very you know he's a good person when you look into his eyes when you're talking. He's a very very kind person.
Yeah, of course, and he was great fighter sometimes ago.
Yeah.
We started almost in one time. It was about millennium, 2000 years.
Ele falou que a viagem mais exótica. What's the name of the city? Is Mieradvinsk.
Severodvinsk.
Severodvinsk. Ele falou que a viagem mais exótica que fez foi para essa cidade, que estava um extremo inverno, e eles foram para lugares que eram no subsolo. Então, foi uma viagem que ele fez, inclusive, com o Oleg Lukianov, Night Marshal, que na época era mais gordinho, ele conseguiu superar a obesidade, cara. E é uma ótima pessoa, um Night Marshal sensacional, uma pessoa muito querida também. E Severodvinsk. Severodvinsk. I'm trying to learn that. E foi muito legal. Is there any place you would like to visit? You haven't still visit, or Severodvinsk again?
No, I don't want. This city famous by two plants, which makes nuclear submarines. That's all. It's not very interesting city. Which countries? Of course, I want to visit South America again, and I very liked USA. I was on the Western show. Now I want to visit maybe Eastern show, New York or something like that. It's very interesting. I've never been there. Of course, I want to visit Australia. I've never been there too.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, maybe Japan or Chinese. Or China.
China would be fine. Sobre lugares que ele queria viajar, basicamente o mundo inteiro. Basically the whole world, right?
Yep.
We talked about music, and we were talking from the beginning before we started this live interview, which we are about to finish. We were talking about summer in Russia, and that you were in the forest. And I have many Russian friends and people I know that used to go to the forest on summer. So I think it's a kind of connection to nature. Can you tell us about this?
You see, before 20 or 25 years ago, live action RPG and historical reenactment, and the things that now calls HMB, historical fencing. It was one big community. Vikings, knights, elves, ogres, orcs. There was one people. Of course, now it's not so, but not very young guys, such like me, have just a second.
Okay.
Our roots basement in this community. And many of us, of course, very love to spend time in forests. In your forests, very dangerous, many anacondas, so on. In our forests, very cool. It's beautiful, it's safety. Every winter, I know very many people from my environment. He have, I think, something like breaking they drawing to forest. They can wait already in winter to to
go to the forest in summer.
yes, to go there.
Uhum.
That's all.
That's all. Ele falou que é uma experiência muito legal, que já foi algo muito grande quando tinha toda uma comunidade que praticava essa coisa que virou HMB, né? Era basicamente uma esgrima medieval. Tinha os vikings, tinha, enfim, de tudo, assim. E agora vai a galera mais da velha guarda, né? Que vai para esses lugares. Ele falou que a floresta é segura, especialmente durante o verão e tal. Que não é como as florestas daqui, que ele diz que tem anacondas, né? Então eles conseguem fazer isso, e durante o inverno, como eles ficam muito tempo em casa, trancados, é quase como uma quarentena, fica a expectativa de quando chegar o verão, poder acampar, ir pra floresta, encontrar os amigos, essas coisas de novo. É basicamente como a gente costuma ir aqui pra praia, eles pegarem uma floresta, é uma atividade de verão. So, we are reaching the end of our interview, and I would like to thank you again for spending a time with us. I used to say that time is the most precious thing we all have. It's the time that make everything happens, from the most simple things to the biggest things. And you spending 1 hour with us is something very incredible, and we thank you so much. Is there any final advice and final recommendation you would like to give to Brazilian fighters and for our community as well?
Invite me to the next seminar. I think I have something to talk to you, and I will talk everything this time.
Ok. Ele falou que os recados finais, assim, os conselhos e tudo mais, I'll make the question from Fábio. Ele falou que para convidá-lo para o próximo seminário aqui no Brasil, ele vai trazer todas as dicas para vocês face a face. Fabio was asking, Fabio visited your seminar here in Brazil. He's a duelist. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember him, of course.
Yeah. We've been together in Riga as well. And he's asking you if there is a place you would like to choose for Battle of the Nations. If you could choose the next Battle of the Nations edition, where would it be?
I love Istanbul very much. It's not the best place to. I was in that fortress. It's great. It's great, but not the best place for Battle of the Nations. But it's not a problem for me because I very love Istanbul.
Yeah.
I will vote for Istanbul if someone will ask me.
No, that would be one of my choices as well. Istanbul is a very historical and very, very wonderful city. It was Byzantine, Constantinople. And
if everything was fine, I traveled there maybe 2 or 3 times a year, just for weekends, to walk around, to eat Iskandar kebab.
Então, se ele pudesse escolher o lugar do Battle of the Nations, seria em Istambul, na Turquia. Não é a capital da Turquia. Ele falou até que não seria a cidade mais estrategicamente melhor para o Battle of the Nations, mas ele não tá nem aí, porque é uma cidade fantástica, seria lindo, né? Ele já foi muito para lá e é um lugar que ele gosta muito. É uma cidade que é um dos berços da história da humanidade, não tem como mesmo. Também, se pudesse escolher, escolheria Istambul. É muito, muito emblemático. So, Sergey, before you go, Ernesto sent you a list of names, and here, if you could choose one of them, but not Sergio, because he's in Argentina, I mean, we cannot send him our gift. One of our gifts we are having today is a bottle of mead, the Viking drink. So if you could, these are very special people that are in this list, and if you could choose one of them to get this mead bottle as a gift from our.
No, of course, I will not make this choose. What do you for me?
Yeah.
Choose this yourself.
You want me to choose? Okay. So I'll make a short draw here to select this one of 3. Well, let's do it. Let's make it together. I have this names in my mind. So if you can say from 1 to 3 a number, from 1, 2, or 3, and I'll say the name. So
Okay,
pick up a
one.
One. So it's okay. So it's Marcela, Marcela Santos. Marcela, você que está assistindo a live, acaba de ganhar uma garrafa de hidromel do Meadwine, que é um apoiador nosso, por ter feito as perguntas ao vivo aqui com a gente e ter participado da live de uma forma mais interativa. A gente seleciona essas pessoas e você acaba de ganhar uma garrafa de hidromel. A gente vai sortear ainda os outros brindes da live aqui, mas eu vou dispensar o Ukolov, que já está quase 1h30 aqui conosco, para fazermos esses sorteios finais. Tá bom? So, Ukolov, thank you so much again. And it's unfortunately time to say goodbye. We were watching the Bohut Prime finals for you to remember these glorious moments of Team Bayern. So if there are any final words you want to say, this is your...
Okay, guys, thank you for inviting. Thank you to invite me on the stream. I was very happy to talk with you. See you on Battle of the Nations, I think. Next.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, maybe in Bohut Prime.
Maybe.
Okay, guys.
Спасибо.
Bye.
Bye.
На здоровье.
Na zdrowie. Ernesto, pode tirar então. Valeu. Então vamos lá, né? Tivemos nosso convidado de honra e vamos fazer o sorteio final dos nossos prêmios aqui, que nós temos o desconto do Mercante Medieval, que é para trajes de roupas medievais. Temos também desconto no Hidromel Meadwine e temos desconto no Mercado Medieval. E temos também um item que eu vou deixar para sortear, bem interessante, na próxima live que nós vamos fazer com o capitão do time da seleção mexicana. Nós vamos ter algumas lives aqui no canal, todo sábado, em que nós vamos sortear brindes e falar com pessoas bem interessantes. Nossas lives vão ser o capitão do time nacional do México, o capitão do time nacional da Argentina, o capitão do time nacional dos Estados Unidos, o Jeffrey Gales, e a última entrevista, uma pessoa muito querida também da comunidade HMB, um cara bem conhecido, que é o Igor Parfentev. Então vai ser uma entrevista bem bacana e vai ser a nossa última dessa sessão de lives. Toda vez que eu vejo esse cara que tá passando o vídeo, parece um Valderrama, né? E tem um outro cara ali que é o Elfo, né? Aí finalmente o Ukolov, capitão do time Bayard, campeão da Bohut Prime 2019. Então vamos lá. Quem ganha os nossos prêmios de descontos? Vamos começar com 10% do Mercante Medieval, né? Fazendo o sorteio rapidamente aqui pelo computador. E foi a Marcela Santos de novo. Marcela, você tá impossível hoje, né? Ganhou a garrafa de hidromel e ganhou ainda 10% de desconto no Mercante Medieval para ter seus trajes ali. Elas fazem trajes extremamente históricos, muito legais, assim. Tem o link deles no nosso Instagram. Se você quiser entrar em contato com eles, fica à vontade. Você tem esse cupom válido aí até o dia 10 de setembro, né? Então, para usufruir, tá? Das pessoas também que fizeram as perguntas antecipadas, vamos fazer aqui. 20% de desconto no hidromel Meadwine. Anderson Tsukiyama, capitão do time Scan de Santa Catarina, ganhou aí 20% de desconto no Meadwine. Muito legal. Agora, o desconto de 10% no Darc Medieval, que faz gambezons excelentes. Inclusive, vai mandar o meu gambezon daqui a pouco, né, Thiago? Darc Medieval, você vai poder falar com ele para comprar o seu gambezon e poder treinar, e com um desconto aí especial. Vamos lá. Sorteando aqui. Opa, peraí. Faltou inserir o último número aqui. Ok. Aqui na lista, Benjamin. Benjamin, lutador do Lobos de Guerra, acabou de ganhar um desconto para comprar o seu Gambeson na Darc Medieval, do Thiago Melo, Thiago Pagão. Sensacional. Pode entrar em contato com eles para ter o seu desconto. O pessoal da Leão e Lebre também teria itens para sortear, que é eles desenvolveram uma pomada específica para você polir as armaduras. E assim que esse produto chegar, a gente vai sortear. E então, na próxima live lá do Capitão Mexicano, eu acredito que já esteja aqui em mãos, a gente vai poder fazer. O que ficou faltando? O Mercado Viking. Mercado Viking. Desconto de 20%. Vai para Marcos Ferrari. Mercado Viking vende desde máscarazinhas até para você usar na quarentena aí, como hidromel, camisetas, vários itens muito interessantes. Você vai poder usufruir esse desconto aí. Então, mais uma vez, agradecendo aí a esses apoiadores, o Mercante Medieval, o Hidromel Meadwine, o Mercado Viking, a Leão e Lebre Armaduras, que vai ter essa pomada específica para armaduras logo em breve, e o Darc Medieval, que faz gambesons e utensílios, cintos e tudo mais. Inclusive, acho que é um cinto que a gente vai sortear na próxima live com o capitão do time do México. Fiquem atentos aí para essa próxima live. E se você gostou do nosso canal, se você gostou do nosso conteúdo, saiba que a Espada de Prata, a Associação da Espada de Prata, faz muitas atividades culturais, né? E em escolas, visita ações sociais, né? Então, se você gosta do nosso projeto e quer apoiar o nosso projeto, você pode encontrar no Apoia-se o projeto Patronos de Prata e doar qualquer valor ali, desde 50 centavos até R$1 milhão. Você pode ficar totalmente à vontade e todas as ações sociais são fotografadas, a gente entrega alimentos, a gente visita escolas, leva o HMB Soft para crianças que não têm esse acesso. Então, em breve vamos conseguir, se Deus quiser, levar esse projeto para escolas públicas praticarem mesmo. Então vai ser uma coisa bem interessante e vamos precisar de mais e mais apoio de vocês. Obrigado por terem visto a live. O Ukolov é uma pessoa simpaticíssima, foi muito bom estar aqui com vocês. Então, espero vocês nas próximas lives. Temos a entrevista com o capitão mexicano, a entrevista com o capitão argentino, a entrevista com o capitão dos Estados Unidos e na live final, Igor Parfentev da Ucrânia, um lutador fantástico também, muito querido. Um beijo a todos e um grande abraço. Vejo vocês no Portal Medieval. Aí o link o Ernesto disponibilizou para nós. Grande abraço!